Hello, this is Jaap, a junior marketing manager, Dutchman since birth. And behind him is Shinji, a Japanese colleague of Jaap. He's also been in the Netherlands for quite a while. And to the right, that's me, your narrator. Jaap just got a promotion. Congratulations, Jaap. He's promoted to senior marketing manager and is transferred from the Netherlands to Japan to work in the main office. Jaap has never been to Japan before and he will be staying here for 2 years. Unfortunately, Jaap doesn't know anything about the Japanese culture. He's very worried about the cultural differences and doesn't know what to do. He decides to ask his friend who's familiar to this matter. And then Jaap goes to Shinji, a Japanese colleague and a good friend of him. Shinji moved to the Netherlands 2 years ago and is familiar with the Japanese culture. So Jaap thinks Shinji can help with the difference in culture.
The first thing Shinji replied is the differences between the high and low context culture between the Japanese and Dutch people. In Japan, people mean more than they speak. They talk in a very high context, they usually talk indirectly and beat around the bush. They also imply a lot of things and use metaphor most of the time. On the other hand, the Dutch are more straightforward. They tell directly to the end of the story and rarely means anything else when they speak. And this is very contrast to the Japanese high context culture. The next thing SNG mentioned is the difference between the universalism and particularism. The Japanese are universalism. They always follow the rules under any circumstance, and obligation are a strong source of moral references. They also assume their standards are the right one and try to make others follow. The Dutch pay more attention to the particular circumstance than rule instead. They also respond differently depends on the circumstance and the people involved in the circumstance. Next is the differences between the long and short-term orientation of the Japanese and Dutch people. Looking into detail, we can see that Japan is a long-term orientation country. They encourage thrift and efforts in modern education as a way to prepare for the future and live and work for their children and country. The Dutch are also long-term orientation. However, their thinking about the future is not as critical as the Japanese. They also think about their work at the present time. The next thing that Shinji remarked jump off is about the distant differences between the Dutch and Japanese culture. The Jap used to have high power distance where the boss is very superior to his subordinate. The gap has been on a declining trend due to increasing cooperation with foreign companies. In the Netherlands, people are more equally and everybody is at the same level. The boss is only the person with more skills and therefore is appointed with more authority and responsibility. The next thing to take into consideration is the difference between indulgence and restraint in the two countries. In Japan, mostly ideas are unwelcome and people have the perception that their actions are restrained by social norms and feel that indulging themselves is somewhat wrong and goes against the tradition. In the Netherlands, any idea is welcome and people are more willingness to realize their impulse and desire with regards to enjoying life and having fun. They possess a more positive attitude and tendency toward optimism. And the last major differences between the two cultures is the achievement and ascription. In Japan, this is more important about ascription. Japanese realize that you should be valued for who you are, power, title, and position matter in this culture, and this role will be defining the behavior. In the Netherlands, people believe that you are what you do, and they base your work accordingly. This culture values performance no matter who you are, reward and recognize good performance appropriately, use title only when relevant.
Those are what the major differences between the culture that Jaap need to be aware of. Now we will show him the way he can overcome them and become successful in his work. You can learn too. First is the preparation before coming to Japan. First you have to learn the language. Japanese people do not speak English a lot. If you want to connect better with your colleague, to understand them better, and to avoid misunderstanding due to cultural differences, try to study Japanese as much as possible. The second thing is to learn the customs. Due to cultural differences, I suggest you get ready for your time in Japan by getting to know the Japanese customs. This will help you feel less confused and avoid insulting others. The next part is to learn the law and rules. One must follow the law and rules of one country if you don't want to get in trouble. The rules and laws from Japan are different from the Netherlands. You also need to follow the rules of the company to protect your career from getting ruined. The next part is preparing gifts. When one arrives from the Netherlands to Japan, a small gift to colleagues will be appreciated. This shows your friendliness towards them. During the time in Japan, you need to first respect the boss, second, behave carefully, third, be on time, 4, work hard, and finally, dress to the code. There are other things that you should be aware of as well. First off, be careful of the differences of the electronic system. Japan uses a 110-volt current. This may damage your electric devices. Second, if you have a tattoo, do not let anybody see it. Only the gangsters have a tattoo in Japan. Third, tipping is considered impolite. Don't do it. Fourth, do not give your seat to other people like elders and disabled. They will consider it disrespectful. Frequently asked questions. Here are some. Question: is an argument with the boss considered appropriate? Answer: yes, but only if you don't raise your voice and turn it into a quarrel. Be polite and don't interrupt them. It is better to not have too many arguments with the boss. Question: is smoking break allowed in Japan? Answer: yes, but don't smoke too much, it's not good for your health. Question: can you talk to other people in English there? Answer: yes, the Japanese people are not very good at English, that's why we suggest you learn some Japanese. In conclusion, moving to work in a foreign country is a very difficult and challenging task. These are some useful tips and instructions that you can follow when moving to Japan to work. Hope this will help you more during the onboarding process. That's the end of it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact our customer services. Thank you for watching. Arigato.